I hate to break it. Hire a guy at Home Depot and feed him to a wild animal for your own amusement. Because there is no benefit to this being what you're pitching other than that.
Yeah. Well, that is unfortunately all the time we have, but Brett, thank you as always for being here. We really do appreciate it. Everybody out there, I'm gonna be leading the first hour of the Young Turks later on today, so tune in to that. You can see me and Jake's gonna be there, and also Maz Jabrani, which should be a lot of fun. So hope to see many of you there. For now, stay safe out there, stay sane out there. We'll see you soon.
welcome. It's indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Rich. Good to be with you. We have a lot on the agenda today. Breaking down news of the day. None other than Jordan Uhl. Always fascinating to have his brilliant analysis. Top story of the day. Donald Trump, President of the United States. His health possibly fading in serious condition. Some people speculate. Let's put it up full mass. It's going to be an interesting dynamic with all of the proclamations of him being in perfect health. And then this. Here it is.
Well, get more aggressive. Yeah, the tariffs are going to go on and other sanctions go on.
Should Zelensky target Moscow? Should Zelensky target Moscow?
No, he shouldn't target Moscow.
With everything that's going on around Trump right now, from the Epstein files to natural disasters, typically, especially from the most non-transparent administration in modern history, typically, they would just ignore such internet chatter, but they did not ignore the internet chatter. They did not ignore the rumor mill. They decided to address it, and here it is.
I know that many in the media have been speculating about bruising on the president's hand and also swelling in the president's legs. So in the effort of transparency, the president wanted me to share a note from his physician with all of you today. Ultrasounds were performed and revealed chronic venous insufficiency, a benign and common condition, particularly in individuals over the age of 70. Importantly, there was no evidence of deep vein thrombosis or arterial disease. Additionally, recent photos of the president have shown minor bruising on the back of his hand. This is consistent with minor soft tissue irritation from frequent handshaking and the use of aspirin, which is taken as part of a standard cardiovascular prevention regimen. This is a well-known and benign side effect of aspirin therapy, and the president remains in excellent health.
Oh, okay. Put it full mass. Excellent health. As a matter of fact, perfect, according to Trump. White House press secretary stepped in to address zoomed-in footage of Donald Trump's bruised and swollen appearance, which has people speculating, forming odd theories about the president. Images from earlier this week show Trump watching the championship match between Chelsea and Paris Saint-Germain from a private box at MetLife Stadium. As he said, his pant leg crept up, revealing what appeared to be noticeable swelling via the ankles. While seated by the First Lady, this is not good. I mean, if you look at his shoe, it seems as if his foot is about to pop out of it. It seems extremely uncomfortable. Some, like Bill Madden, aren't buying it, writing, like Trump, Caroline Levitt is a habitual liar. The American people should give zero credence to whatever comes out of Levitt's fabulous pie hole. Fabulous pie hole. With dark bruises on the back of his hand and swelling in his ankles, the pedo president has health issues he's not telling the American people. End quote. David Pakman wrote, Trump's ankles are swollen, his hand is bruised, and now covered with makeup. That's not normal. Possible causes: congestive heart failure, IVs, blood thinners. Of course, we have no idea because the most transparent White House ever won't tell us a thing. Now, here's what's guaranteed. Whatever she said is a lie. That's pretty much guaranteed. That's the spin. That's the initial narrative in order to create the fictional narrative to not tell the exact truth. There's no way you are hobbling around with that kind of swelling in your leg makeup on your hand, God knows what else is happening with you, and you are in excellent health. But why would he be in excellent health? Why would anybody pretend he should be in excellent health? He has a diet of Big Macs, drinks Coca-Cola. He takes aspirin as a regimen, and he generally does not exercise. I do not consider his level of golfing to be exercise. And he's typically a mean and unhappy individual. It's not as if he's a jolly guy. All of these things work against health manifestation. They work opposite to the human body, from his mentality to his regimen and his eating habits. All of this speaks to one thing: unhealthy lifestyle, unhealthy person, period. Name one thing about Donald Trump's lifestyle that would make him a healthy person. Level of stress, level of happiness, level of joy, level of exercise, level of eating, nothing. Not one thing. All right, Jordan, if Biden would have had this condition during his 4 years as president, this would have been numero uno to the MAGA crowd and possibly even some Democrats. What say you?
Yeah, and with good reason.
Yeah.
We shouldn't treat the president like the right does as some sort of godhead or religious figure or cult leader. Unfortunately, that's what the right does, and I think there's an element of that on the left. We would want to scrutinize all aspects of the president's well-being, health, mental fortitude. I, among many on the left, were critical of Biden's cognitive abilities even in the 2020 primary. So I do feel like I have a strong leg to stand on here in saying, yes, this is also concerning. This guy, like you point out, has a very poor diet. It seems to be affecting his health, as this isn't surprising. We know the long-term effects of eating a fast food and an ultra-processed diet. Well, I think there are benefits to golf. I'm a bit biased. I don't think it's enough, like you say, to counter his diet. So we would want that with any leader, any politician. We've unfortunately seen many people in Congress, recently Democrats, hang on to power too long and then die in office. Wouldn't you want your leader to be the strongest, most capable person rather than just somebody you like a lot? We would all benefit from being more willing to question people who lead our parties. And I think there is no exception here with Trump. I don't buy this frequent handshaking excuse.
Yeah, it would be the first. I shake a lot of hands myself, dear brother, and don't have that condition, fortunately. I'm thankful. All right, we'll bring updates as they come. It is important to know if the commander-in-chief actually is in command via his health. All right, well, Trump gloats over CBS canceling the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Put it a full mask. This is an interesting saga. Trump is cheering. He has time to do this. He's cheering the CBS outfit for canceling the Late Show. CBS announced yesterday that its flagship late night program, the most watched show in its time slot, is coming to an end. Trump immediately took to posting on Truth Social. I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings. I hear Jimmy Kimmel is next, has even less talent than Colbert. Greg Gutfeld is better than all of them combined, including the moron on NBC who ruined the once great Tonight Show. And for a reminder, Gutfeld is the person who says that white people should be referred to as my Nazis. Okay, all right. But why cancel the show? This is typical Trump behavior, but it also reveals something deeper. The former president, the president is on the offensive, weaponizing media narratives and media companies, vulnerabilities in ways we haven't seen since the 2016 campaign, and he appears to be winning. So while news of Colbert's exit has been packaged with euphemism, the CBS statement called it a financial decision. The move is startling on its face. Colbert has consistently been among the top rated late night hosts, so the ratings aren't the issue. While the entire format is declining in the streaming age, he has remained the best CBS talent for relevant next day viral content. 15 days after Paramount announced that they would pay Trump $16 million to settle what most experts consider to be a meritless lawsuit over a 2024 60 Minutes interview with former Vice President Kamala Harris, CBS announced the end of The Late Show. That announcement also came just 3 days after Colbert nuked the company over the deal in the air, calling it a big fat bribe. It took guts to say that, so we appreciate your honesty. There's more. In that segment, the comedian directly called out his own corporate overlords for what he saw as a shameful cave-in. Quote, as someone who has always been a proud employee of this network, I am offended, Colbert said. And I don't know if anything will ever repair my trust in this company. But just taking a stab at it, I'd say 16 million would help. And the crowd laughs. And then almost immediately, the show is canceled. CBS says, no more to see here. No more Colbert. Well, it seems as if he was correct, that it will be difficult to restore the trust. There's more. Executives at CBS issued a statement. I'm going to read the statement. We consider Stephen Colbert irreplaceable and will retire the Late Show franchise. In May of 2026, we are proud that Stephen called CBS home. He and the broadcast will be remembered in the pantheon of greats that graced late night television. This is purely a financial decision against a challenging backdrop in late night. It is not related in any way to the show's performance, content, or other matters happening at Paramount. It's not about the $16 million lawsuit, nor is it about what Stephen said on his show, because Stephen has full creative control over his content. So if it's about that, we could be sued. So we have to say it's not about that. You know, CBS, it would be interesting if you stood up to Trump like you stood up to Colbert. Maybe there will be a different outcome than you having to lose 16 million of your dollars. Just a thought. Colbert offered his own response to the news live on his show. Quote, before we start the show, I want to let you know something that I just found out just last night, said Colbert. Next year will be our last season. The network will be ending the Late Show in May. Quote, I do want to say that the folks at CBS have been great partners, he said. And said he was, quote, grateful to the Tiffany Network for giving me this chair and this beautiful theater to call home. Love you, Stephen. Kimmel, whose show is ABC, posted to Instagram stories, then came to Colbert's defense. F you and all your Sheldon's CBS. Okay, some connection. All right, well, Donald Trump is gloating. Facts don't matter to Trump. Does it have something to do with this settlement? Yeah, I think it has something to do with the people who are involved at the executive level of CBS. It also has something to do with money and politics. We look for one particular reason, a pivot place. And typically, you have catalysts. You have multiple reasons that create the pivot rather than just one. But yet and still, I do believe CBS caved in. I do believe them firing Colbert or stopping the show, canceling the program right after this settlement was finalized. They knew this would send a clear message for Trump to gloat and against Colbert, which he would have to defend, him and his whole team, which includes producers and everybody else that makes that show, that make that show happen. It is shameful, but we are in this era where we see corporations for who they really are and what they really are. They are willing to bow down to the highest bidder and the person they believe holds the most power, rather than standing up, fighting the good fight, and they're the ones who have the money and the lawyers to do so. All right, Jordan, thoughts?
Yeah, let's be clear what Trump and his administration are doing and how they're operating. This is a mob. This is mob behavior. From shaking down media outlets for unjustified, frivolous payouts to now using his leverage over CBS to get somebody fired. This is just a white collar mob. That's it. Think about what is at stake here in this 60 Minutes lawsuit and that payout. They edited the interview to make Kamala Harris look good. Okay, let's talk about that Fox News interview that edited Trump's comments to make him look good. The one specifically about Epstein. Where's the lawsuit there? If you're so worried about media integrity, where's the lawsuit? No, they're looking for things like that across the board. He said Kimmel's next. They're going outlet to outlet. They shook down papers. They're shaking down TV stations. Anything that he can do. And if you support his campaign or you support him, you get protection. But then here, the FCC explicitly needs to approve this merger between Paramount, CBS's parent company, and Skydance. This company is potentially worth $28 billion. They want this to go through, so they're willing to throw Colbert under the bus, likely at Trump's behest. Because they still need the FCC's approval. They haven't gotten it, and that deal is set to close in October. So it seems pretty clear cut to me. It's not about ratings, it's not about money, it's not a financial, well, it is a financial decision in that they want this merger to go through so the executives, the wealthy, and the elite can continue making money and make even more money. And at whose expense? At Colbert's, only because he dared criticize the network for giving in to this frivolous lawsuit, this frivolous legal threat, and ultimately so they can cater to Trump.
Yeah, you are right. And the reason why the FCC has to approve it is because the FCC governs the airwaves. And anytime there's an emerging of companies that own license in order to broadcast, the FCC has to be the one to approve it. And that's exactly at the heart of the matter. Well said. All right, we got more on the other side. Indisputable, stick and stay.
I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken when I first got my license, like 17 years old or 17, 18, whatever it was. And I'm driving, I think, my dad's Oldsmobile. And I parked it in a place where there was two cars next to me, really tight spot, and a car behind me. I don't even know how I got in there because I'm a terrible driver. Back then I was an even worse driver. And on the roads I'm okay, but in parking spots I have terrible spatial reasoning and I'm a mess. And on my way out, I hit all three cars at once. I broke all records, okay? So I went, as I'm backing out, I went boom, oh, and this side hit that car, this side hit this car, and the back hit the third car, okay? And I got stuck. I didn't know how to get out. Like, I went, okay, for this, and then I'm like, no, and then, right? And then finally I had to stop, go inside the KFC and go, A, I'm sorry, I hit a bunch of your cars. They're like, what do you mean a bunch of your cars? I'm like, I don't know.
Wow, there's a B?
Yeah, I'm like, I hit 3 cars. I don't know, so you guys gotta come help me, okay? Yeah. Okay, so one, my bad, really sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, number 2, can someone take my car out? Because I don't wanna keep hitting your cars and I'm incapable of taking it out of this spot.
Now baby, move that fat, baby, move that fat. Out.
Hi, I'm Brett Ehrlich with breaking news with Brett Ehrlich. This is breaking news with Brett Ehrlich. Hi, Brett Ehrlich here. According to EPA head Scott Pruitt, climate change is not happening. He cited a meme on Facebook he saw. When pressed to back up this source, he said it must be accurate because the watermark said it was made by a scientist. So, your move, Truth.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue truth, challenge the establishment, and drive positive change. At a time when corporate capture of our media, our government, and our politics is nearly absolute, everyday working people need a champion to fight for them and to push back against the powerful interests that threaten our democracy itself. At TYT, we're proudly progressive and call out corruption and duplicity wherever we see it, from Republicans, Democrats, or anyone else. And unlike mainstream news media outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to Big Pharma. We only have to answer to our audience, and for nearly 2 decades, we've accomplished that by delivering honest, timely, and insightful perspectives on the day's news without fear or favor or concern for whose toes we might step on or which powerful elites we might offend. And while we're super serious about the news, we also manage to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We can do this together and serve our audience, and yes, have fun doing it.
You are the media revolution. You are much needed.
TYT, TYT.
The place is like 95% TYT on.
You guys, the Young Turks, which is my favorite channel, we're getting that message out.
Tank and the Young Turks do an extraordinarily good job.
No matter what mainstream media says, you have to listen to the Young Turks.
The people who support us on the internet, that's what gives us strength. That's what allows anyone who was in there who was undecided to think one side seems to be winning, they seem to have a bigger army. There might be a reason for that. So thank you guys.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. A lot on the agenda still. Okay, let me read some of these comments. Winter Scoop says, frequent handshaking? Ha ha ha. Yeah. Nastra Science says CBS did the same cancel thing with the popular Smothers Brothers TV show due to Nixon's political pressure. Embedded Deuce says Carson made fun of the president all the time. Snack Panther, that CBS logo, that eye should be closed. I only watch football on the network. Maybe it is time to boycott that too. And Christina Alyssa Brown, Trump is so vain, he would never be honest about his health. That's correct. There you go. Yeah. All right. We have a major update. Truckers are now suing Denny's for $4 million. Denny's refused to serve them according to the lawsuit. We brought you this story when it first happened. It became national news quickly. I'm going to remind you of that story and bring you the new lawsuit that has been filed. Here it is.
So, to make the situation more calm, because we do have a lot of people here, it would just be nice if you guys could leave, but we aren't. I can't wait on you guys. I have no idea. I'm not in the situation, but she, just to make it more calm, she said, you guys can calmly leave because we do have a lot of people around, or the police will be on their way, because they are, so.
But why do we have to leave? We just came to order food.
Yeah, of course.
I don't understand, what do we do?
I don't know.
That's not right, man. We was planning on leaving, but we wanted to wait for the police to get here because we wanted her name. Yeah, she didn't want to give us her name because we want to submit a complaint.
Okay.
She refused to give us her name.
Yeah, she doesn't have to give her name.
But she works here, right? We waiting for a manager. Right?
Okay, yeah.
Do they have a manager?
Did you guys do anything? No, we don't have a manager in today. They're all off because they've been working all week.
If I leave and the police get here, she could just come up and say anything. I try to rob the place.
Yeah. Did you guys do anything to disturb her, disturb any customers?
No, when she walked by,
yes.
I said, excuse me, because it seemed like she was,
Well, yeah, it's really busy today.
No, obviously.
Yeah.
So, I said, excuse me, because he's been sitting here for 15 minutes.
Yeah, of course.
So, when she left, she came back with the menus, and she said, well, I don't want to be yelled at.
Yeah.
And I said, I didn't yell at you. I was simply, Can we talk outside real quick? Yo, record this. I am. Can we talk outside real quick? All right, just outside here. It's crazy. They're refusing to serve us. That's crazy. That's crazy. They're refusing to serve us.
Two truckers who obviously created no disturbance, simply requested to be served, had another waitress sent to their table. That was not the original waitress you saw in the video. That waitress was sent to the table to tell them to leave. They questioned, why are we being told to leave? Then this narrative starts. That narrative leads to the police being called on them for creating no disturbance. Once again, these are truckers who simply wanted to eat. Then we spoke with these truckers. Here it is.
So he goes, excuse me, we're ready to place our order. And she goes, I don't like you yelling at me. He didn't yell. He wasn't rude. Nobody was out of the ordinary. And then he goes, I just wanted to say we're ready to place our order. And then she goes, well, I don't need you people calling me over to this table like that. Then after that, he said, but I saw that you serving other people, and we just want to let you know that we're ready to place our order. Just like we said, we're not thinking racism or anything like that. So then she goes, you know what? I'm not serving you people. You need to get your stuff now and go. I'm calling the police. And then she snatches the menus out of our hands.
It was just unexpected. It's just something that we weren't ready for. I surely wasn't ready. We went in there, wanting to place orders just like any other place. You go to, you walk into, you walk into a place to place an order, and we were just blindsided by it.
Yeah, these are good-hearted individuals who had absolutely nothing in them but a hungry stomach. That's it, nothing else. Fast forward. Who called 911? That was a question. Who called 911? Well, we were able to obtain the 911 tape exclusively at Indisputable. Here it is. Well, obviously, everyone is under the impression that the waitress called 911. That is not the case. We have the 911 recording. Here it is.
Hey, Tara, I was hoping to have an officer dispatched to our restaurant. We have a couple guests who are unruly and are refusing to leave.
Okay, what's the address?
5201 North Granite Lane in Sioux Falls.
Okay, is that Denny's?
Yeah.
Okay. What's that phone number you're calling from? Okay. Are they being violent or have any weapons on them?
Not to my knowledge. So I'm the regional manager. I'm actually getting ready to head in there. I'm about 20 minutes out. But the team called me and they said they're just like very confrontational and argumentative and like refuse to leave the building and just harassing the team and kind of following them around the restaurant.
Okay. Do you know what they look like or how many of them there are?
Just two guys, African-American guys. That's all I really know.
Okay. What is your name?
At the moment, one was, what was that? I'm sorry.
What's your name?
Mike Fletcher.
Okay. And they're both still inside the restaurant?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, we'll have officers stop out. Just give a call back if anything changes.
Will do. All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Mr. Fletcher is the one who called the police. He was not at the scene. He says that himself. He's on the way to the restaurant. He's the manager of that particular Denny's. Come to find out, further investigation revealed that Mr. Fletcher is a significant other of the waitress who had the alleged encounter in the first place. So the commentary that he provided about the character and demeanor of these men could not have been accurate based on the fact he was not even there in the first place. Now, in an update to this story, we'll put it up full mass. This is your update. A $4 million lawsuit has been filed. They are represented, Damon Whitfield and Hector Madera, they're represented by attorney Erica Wilson, national civil litigator and frequents court television, court TV. She's representing the two black cross-country truck drivers in a federal lawsuit. The federal lawsuit filed this month alleging these two truckers were denied service and harassed at a Denny's restaurant in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Each man is seeking damages of $4 million. In the days and weeks that followed the incident, the men, stunned by the experience of overt racism, as they called it, called local and corporate Denny's representatives to complain, seeking a public apology, and that is all. They told attorney, not attorney, they told Indisputable host me, Rashad Ritchie, podcast in September 2023, they got no satisfaction according to that interview. Whitfield said, though after the incident, top executives from a company called Pilot Flying J and Denny's called him to personally apologize. So in that interview, they made it very clear. They literally tried to just seek an administrative apology for how they were treated. They left messages, they sent correspondence. Nobody from Denny's responded. Nobody. And that is when they decided to escalate it more. September 4th, 2023, Denny's released a public statement from Roland Sponberg, the president and chief executive officer of WKS Restaurant Group, which owns and operates more than 100 Denny's locations nationwide, including the one in South Dakota that the gentlemen were at. They said that Denny's is committed to a culture of inclusion and excellence for all guests, and noted that the company had conducted a, quote, thorough third-party investigation into the incident, and that as a result, the franchise owner had fired Fletcher, okay? The CEO further stated that, quote, Denny's maintains a strict zero-tolerance policy when it comes to any form of discrimination. We acknowledge there were opportunities to improve the service level in this specific situation. We maintain our commitment to ongoing training and development of all staff. The employees at the location will immediately go through a dedicated training program to ensure the team delivers above and beyond our guests' expectations. We regret this incident and want to apologize to the guests involved. Clearly, we fell short of our own standards that day and are committed to making it right. So on Indisputable, Whitfield called the statement a half apology. More needs to be done, he said. We've made progress in race relations, but how far have we gotten, he asked. And further observed, you can't train a racist. A racist is a racist. That's deep-rooted. I feel as though they took a piece from us that day, one said on the show. They took something that we can't get back. It's kind of degrading. They robbed us. They tried to rob us of our humility and dignity and self-worth and respect. I believe it's unfair. I want them to be held accountable. Their amended lawsuit filed July 17th in the U.S. District Court for South Dakota accuses Denny's Corporation, its franchise WKS Restaurant Group, the Pilot Flying J gas station, and Fletcher and Michael Fletcher of explicit racial discrimination in violation of federal civil rights law. The plaintiffs were denied their right to make a contract with Denny's by purchasing food and denied their right to a public accommodation to sit in and enjoy the restaurant as other white customers were doing. When Ann Fletcher refused to serve them, and when Michael Fletcher summoned the police on the false pretext that they were unruly patrons, the lawsuit claims. The defendants mistreated them while acting with discriminatory intent in denial of their federally and constitutionally protected rights, causing them public embarrassment and humiliation, severe emotional distress, mental pain and suffering, and injury to dignity and the complaint contends. They seek a jury trial to determine compensatory general and special damages of no less than $4 million for each plaintiff, as well as punitive damages in an amount that will punish the defendant's conduct and to discourage others from engaging in similar discrimination in the future. One of the lead counsel, once again, Erica Wilson, civil rights attorney at the Fairness Firm, said in an Instagram post in 2023 that she is the daughter and granddaughter of truck drivers and knows the sacrifices these men make daily to be able to provide for their families, reported Sioux Falls Argus leader. Wilson also wrote that she was disheartened that her clients were reduced to common criminals for merely wanting to grab breakfast so they could get back to work. Quote, it is absolutely ridiculous that we are in 2023 and the video you may have seen felt like it was 1953, she said. The defendants have 21 days after being served with the plaintiff's amendment complaint filed July 17th or until August 7th to file a response in the U.S. District Court of South Dakota. And my sources tell me that they did attempt to have a conversation with Denny's, but Denny's did not budge on a very small, and some saw it as a symbolic gesture rather than a real attempt at remedy and restoration. So we shall bring the update to that lawsuit as it continues. All right, Jordan, thoughts here?
Yeah, I am rooting for them. And also credit to you and kudos to you for following this story, not just covering it when it first broke, but the routine updates, I think, were instrumental in helping them in their pursuit of justice. So thank you to you and the show and everyone who works on it for stories like this. There's one thing I want to point out here. As we see the right and Trump and this broader conservative culture war against DEI, this is the consequence, right? As we all know, the core tenets of diversity, equity, and inclusion make for a better America. And the risk here if you want to look at it purely from a corporate risk, is scenarios like this, where you have ill-prepared employees or workers, public-facing people, jeopardizing your company here by engaging in racist behavior. All we're saying is, hey, maybe there should be some level of education or training to prepare everyone for how to respond in some sort of situation like this. And we know the long-term benefits is a more equitable society. The right can't stand that. They want to create, by attacking DEI, critical race theory, things that we know lead to a better future. By doing that, they are explicitly saying, we want discrimination. We want to be able to discriminate against people we don't like based on how they look or who they are. They ultimately are fighting for a segregated society. So it's important that news outlets, that higher education institutions, everybody fights back against this attack on DEI from the right.
Yeah, and that's right. So we shall see what the pushback is from Denny's, if any. And hopefully these two gentlemen receive the justice that they deserve. Guaranteed the saga's not over. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay. Indisputable, exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
What up? Welcome back. Always good to be with you. All right. Lot of comments. We'll read as many as I can. B. Brown says, I wouldn't trust any food that comes out of Denny's. Mike Nice says, I stopped messing with Denny's back in the 90s. Mr. Spock, hilarious. Doing everything except their job. No wonder it's slow as hell. Love 18 white girl. You can't dine while being black? Yeah. All right. Got something for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Go back to Mexico.
Okay.
This is America, freedom of speech. I can tell you to go back to Mexico if I wanted to.
How do you think you know that there was some
Country.
What did you say?
You go back to your country.
What is your
America, not Mexico.
Oh, dear brother, dear brother. You are correct, dear brother. You are correct. Statutorily, constitutionally, maybe not morally and ethically. Put it at full mass. You see, freedom of speech works both ways because you have the freedom to be a jerk and to say racist things. I have the freedom to platform it. Got it? Male Karen displays his racism while in a Costco parking lot. The post of the video wrote, quote, TikTok, do your thing. We were loading up our car when they approached us telling us to, quote, go back to our effing country, end quote, just because we were speaking Spanish. In a follow-up post, she was able to find the identities of the parties involved. It is interesting to know that individuals who will go around citing, we're in America, freedom of speech, and then they utilize their freedom not to build, but to tear down, not to encourage, but to discourage, not to say things that are pleasant, but say things that are unpleasant. It's amazing to me that when somebody utilizes that same freedom in order to highlight their freedom, there's an issue with the highlighting of the freedom contextualized by the same freedom that they enjoy. Freedoms are freedoms. Yes, everything that is available for you to do may not always be beneficial for you to do. Okay? All right. Jordan, thoughts here?
It's just, these people are ridiculous. I mean, also the irony of saying that while you live in Texas with the history of Texas originally being Mexico. I mean, understand, I mean, not that these people are bright. I mean, they're guided by ignorance and malice, but some of the best things about this country are the result of immigration. You know, more interesting cultural or neighborhood experiences. You get to, you broaden your perspectives. I don't want people like this guy setting our culture. We don't have a bright future if people like him are setting the agenda. Not only would we be worse off, we'd be poor educated, it would be bland, it would be boring. I'm happy with immigration in our society. I think it makes us a better, more interesting place. People like him just need to shut up and go away.
Yeah. Can we put the picture back up again, Jordan?
Yeah.
Just put the picture back up. Yeah, it's coming. All right. Okay, see that fella? Okay. That individual, that outfit says it all. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Okay. All right, I'm gonna move on. Okay. A CEO and the head of HR. Now, damn it, this is not supposed to happen. They are caught having an affair, according to the narrative, at a Coldplay concert. Here it is.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. I'm not quite sure.
Yes, be more careful. Put it up full mass. If you haven't seen it, You may have heard about it. Coldplay accidentally exposed a high-profile affair at their recent concert in Boston. The video now has been viewed 50 million times. My gosh. In the last day, we have the details. Astronomer, CEO, and Byron was caught with his own head of HR, human resources. The duo worked together at the AI and database company, which is valued at a cool $1.2 billion, according to the Post. Byron's wife, Megan Kerrigan Byron, quickly deleted her social media page after the video of her husband went viral. She also initially removed her last name of Byron. This is a decisive woman here. Social media has been quick to respond. Social media montage, here it is.
Whoever you are, and his HR manager, who are both married separately in other marriages, getting caught hugged up at a Coldplay concert. Hugged up at a Coldplay concert. If you know who Coldplay is, you already know. It's Coldplay. Private moment.
How are you an HR director having an affair with the CEO? I'm guessing you didn't see the trainings that you've been assigning the employees. Forget HR. You are done in HR for the rest of your life. You will not run another HR department, because as soon as they Google your name and see a picture of you boot up with somebody else's husband who's also the CEO of your company, they're going to laugh that application right into the trash can. As for the CEO, I feel bad for his family, you know, his wife, if he has kids, because that's an awful way to find out.
So I'm in HR, and I'll tell you exactly what's happened in the last 12 hours with the CEO of Astronomer and the head of People, that they're having an affair, and it's been found out. First off, she's already been scrubbed off the company website. But this is part of probably a very big investigation that is happening right now. They're dedicating a ton of resources to, but also concurrently, while this is happening, because of all this media attention and social media attention that's been transpired, they need a response. Like, they have a PR crisis team just figuring out, all right, what do we say? What do we do? And, you know, obviously, there's going to be heads that are probably going to roll right now. They're going to find out who knew, what was said. Were they doing this during company time?
All right, let's back away from the sensationalism for a moment and talk about why this story is actually important. This is a major corporation, has a lot of employees. The HR department, while yes, is part of the company, is also part of the company that is supposed to be able to have an objective analysis, objective review of alleged violations. Employee conduct, rules of interaction, discriminatory activity. The list goes on and on. But if you have an inappropriate relationship with potentially the individual who the allegation is against, or maybe somebody that he or she likes, then all of a sudden, you being in that position, well, it's no longer as objective, is it? It becomes a very subjective dynamic. So it has real teeth, and possibly decisions have already been made based on relationship rather than rule. So that's the reason it becomes a dynamic for people to care about. These employees deserve fairness. All right, so This isn't Byron's only scandal, by the way. Andy Byron is allegedly not just a cheater, according to the narrative, but also a horrible boss. Quote, multiple former employees said Mr. Byron would lash out against employees who disagree with him, including threatening to fire them. This reads in an expose about the cybersecurity tech company, Cyber Reason, published on the Information, a tech and business outlet. In the article titled Fake Hire, Staff Departures Royal, SoftBank-backed security startup, a former employee claimed Byron, quote, you could not challenge him, end quote. Byron's alleged poor management skills reportedly drove many people to leave the company. To replace them, the former chief revenue officer hired loyal salespeople from his former company, Fuse, according to the Information's report. He has reportedly denied these claims, but one way to stay safe is you date the HR director. Doesn't matter what complaint comes. All right. I do feel bad for the wife of this individual, and if the HR director's married, I feel bad for the hubby, because to find this out via such a public venue has to be really heartbreaking. Forget about being embarrassed. Being heartbroken is 100 times worse. And if children are involved in these relationships, what can you say? All right, my heart goes out to you. Jordan, thoughts here?
Yeah, I think it's a couple things here. Certainly with you, feel bad for the family. I also feel bad for the family that people were reaching out directly and commenting on his wife's Facebook. I saw screenshots of people just posting like images of her husband and the head of people at this company. It's like, I don't think she wants to learn that way. I don't think strangers need to reach out. And I think it's a weird kind of like hive mind set of behavior when things like this happen. Ultimately, while being a CEO and being like a public facing figure in his company, this is a personal matter between his family and also his company. And the way people engage with that kind of stuff, like by contacting the family directly, I find off-putting. And also I want to point out 404 Media had a really good story about the ways these types of scenarios are augmented and aggravated by facial recognition technology, and how we need to think about the underlying consequences of things like that. But then just if you want to talk about the video itself and the incident itself, I don't know if we would be talking about this if they reacted differently. Had they just kind of smiled, waved, the camera moves on, we might not know about them.
I have to concur with you, dear brother, because let's say the camera goes to them, right? And they kind of sway a little bit back and forth. Camera goes to another person. Who is going to say that's a viral moment and put that out on social media? Nobody. It was their reaction that created the viral moment that we see today, 50 million plus views. All right, we got more on the other side. It's indisputable, stick and stay. Indisputable, exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. Got some comments. We'll read as many as I can. And Betty Dew says, she can still get a job with the Trump administration. So true. As a matter of fact, she would probably be preferred. All right. And yeah. Ashanti says, that's what you call getting cold played. I see what you did there. Wow. Technology Aid said, yeah, the running joke is that Coldplay hasn't made a single in a long time. They just made 2. I didn't say it. I did not say that. That's what Technology Aid said. I'm just repeating what Technology Aid said, okay? Okay. All right. We have an update, all right? So a racist individual who punched a black child gets a light sentence. Put it up full mass. The story is going to make your blood boil. We have an update to a story. The white Washington man who decided to punch a black child in the face after assailing him and using racial slurs in front of the cops has received a light sentence for his hate crime. White male who punched a young black child in the face in a racially motivated attack last summer has been sentenced to more than 3 years in prison after pleading guilty to felony charges, including a hate crime. Paul Jonathan Bittner, 43, pleaded guilty to second-degree assault of a child, and commission of a hate crime. That is supposed to be your enhancer, okay? That's according to the Bellingham Herald. Following an assault he committed on June 12th, 2024 in Washington. Authorities say Bittner, who is white, started walking alongside a group of students and teachers from Whatcom Middle School who had just finished a field trip in the downtown area. According to court documents, he walked directly in front of an 11-year-old black student, a child, then suddenly turned around and punched the 11-year-old black child in the face, chipping the child's tooth in the process. He then allegedly asked the child, quote, "Are you going to talk to a white man like that?" End quote. The child told police that he believed Bittner targeted him because of his race. After Bittner was taken into custody, he continued making racist remarks, repeatedly used the N-word, and made references to assaulting even more black people. He initially pleaded not guilty. Okay, so in August 2024, a judge determined that he was not competent to stand trial after he underwent a competency evaluation in which a doctor diagnosed him with bipolar type schizoaffective disorder. He was ordered to receive 90 days of inpatient competency restoration treatment at a state psychiatric hospital. He spent more than 5 months at West State Hospital. So the senior deputy prosecuting attorney, that was Benjamin Pratt, said Bittner showed a substantially different temperament during his sentencing hearing than he did initially following his arrest. A judge sentenced Bittner to 41 months in prison, followed by 18 months in community custody, a form of supervised release in which an offender must adhere to court-ordered conditions. He is also under a no-contact order with the child for 10 years. Potential restitution is possible in this case. The child's father stated he was pleased with how the case ended. Quote, "I'm feeling good," the child's father said, Mr. Devontae Blow, told the Bellingham Herald following the sentencing. "I'm feeling as if justice was served and the community is safer." All right, so let's unpack this. Initially, when all this happened, all right, there was this proclamation of racism, mental health. Mental health was carried to its, let's just say, maximum level, meaning you get every benefit of the doubt here. All right, there's an issue, you have a diagnosis, you're bipolar, and you have a schizoaffective dynamic. Now, let's go to the court of law. The court of law says a mental health diagnosis does not necessitate, does not mean that you are unaware of right and wrong. If that were the case, you would virtually have no one in the city of Atlanta incarcerated right now, okay? Because if you go there, you will see clearly a whole lot of folk have diagnosed mental health disorders, and that's why they're typically arrested in the first place, crimes of survival, etc. So the court has upheld this standard. The court. What determines if you knew what you were doing is right or wrong? Generally speaking, you're able to articulate what you did is right or wrong. Or you try to escape consequences. For example, are you guilty or not guilty of said offense? Well, not guilty. Typically, that means you're attempting to escape the consequence of alleged action, which means that you believe, or at least have some knowledge, that the alleged action is actually wrong. That is the standard of the court. Now, you may argue that standard, but that is the current standard of the court. Okay, all right, Jordan, this also is, it's a microcosm and macrocosm here. There's some type of mental something happening, all right? I don't disagree with that. But at the same time, this individual was allowed to approach a group of children without the benefit of whatever help he received after this to calm him down in that particular court hearing. Why wasn't that help provided to him prior if this is a mental health dynamic? And beyond that, you still have a child who has been significantly damaged. I mean, psychologically, more so than physically. But psychologically, this child is going to remember for the rest of his life. At 11 years old, a white male came up to me, punched me so hard that it chipped my tooth.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I could summarize it better than you.
Yeah.
But this is tragic. And like you're saying, where were these resources? If this is a problem, where were these resources before? And you could talk about how we would be better off if we did reallocate local, state, even federal funding into programs that do proactively assist people before a scenario like this. I'm certainly in support of that. We could do a better job of reaching out to people, finding people who might need assistance, all that kind of stuff. Totally on board, but I don't know if I'm totally convinced here that this is justification for a lighter punishment or being let off the hook, however you want to see it. If while in custody was talking about harming Black people, Black children, recognizing what he did. So yeah, we can't underscore enough the long-term consequences for this child that did nothing to deserve this, warranted, anything. And now you could see trauma later on in life. I mean, this, for someone that young to endure something like this, it might permanently alter this kid's perspective. And I hope that they are able to find the resources that they need to have a healthier, happier future.
That's right. Well said. And the mental health dynamic to the child is my primary concern. And I hope that whatever happens in this child's future, that you're able to utilize this, and speaking to the young man directly, able to utilize this to be a catalyst for transformation, rather than someone who internalizes it and believes it was their fault, because it wasn't your fault at all. All right, we got more on the other side. Indisputable, stick and stay. Indisputable, exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
All right, welcome back. Lot of show left. Let me read a couple of comments. Winter Scoop says with this ruling, the courts effectively ruled that racism is a mental illness. It creates case law. It will bolster the claim of somebody making this argument in the future. You're absolutely correct. All right. What if I told you that a black homeowner was jailed for a week due to a minor HOA violation? It is a true story. Put it up full mass. Hell of a story here. Irina Green, Ms. Green, Florida homeowner, was sued by her HOA and ended up being jailed for a week as a result of a dispute that started over a patch of brown grass in her yard. Ms. Green said the dispute between her and the homeowners association that oversees her Tampa subdivision reached extreme heights when the HOA took her to civil court after issuing her notices about the state of her lawn, okay, a brown patch. It all began with a few violation notices from the HOA organization. The Trowbridge Company, they sent notices about a patch of brown grass in Green's yard. Green attributed the condition of the grass to a drought that prompted mandatory countywide watering restrictions in Hillsborough County. Now, as with many HOAs, and many of them are moving to this, the HOA does not directly manage anymore. They outsource management to a for-profit company. And that for-profit company is just as heartless, if not more, than the HOA would have been, okay? And so this for-profit company that the HOA hired to do this management is the one who sent the violation letters. Now, but she said her yard isn't the only one in the neighborhood that doesn't meet the HOA standard. Quote, if you drive around the neighborhood, you'll see there's plenty of yards not up to par, Green told WFTS. Then Green was cited for mildew on her mailbox, followed by another notice about a dent in her garage. After that, she was issued a warning about having a commercial cargo van, despite the fact that some of her neighbors also own similar vehicles. So what does it sound like thus far? It sounds like unequal application of the rule. That's what it sounds like. There's more. Ultimately, the for-profit company working on behalf of the HOA decided to sue Green in Hillsborough County Civil Court after she failed to respond to a request for mediation. The HOA's complaint accuses Ms. Green of breaking community appearance rules and demanding that she correct the violations. Green filed a handwritten response to the lawsuit that was rejected by the HOA and the judge. And she was issued an ultimatum to fix the issues or risk jail time. Now, let's just back up for a moment. For the vast majority of human beings on the planet, the biggest single investment you will make is a home. It is an investment. It is supposed to serve a function not only for you, but also for your family and for those that come after your children and children's children, etc. It's a big investment. All of a sudden, with these notices and alleged violations, this investment becomes cost prohibitive. If you have to fix this and fix that, I mean, people have to work, have to pay for these things. So, quote, she says, my grass had to be brought up to par. He said, you can get seed, you can do something, but you got 30 days to get it corrected. So I said, fine. He said, if it's not done in 30 days, you're going to go to jail. Green said, I sold my van to comply. My mailbox was cleaned to comply. I bought seeds and watered my grass to comply. Green complied with the order, but things took a turn for the worse when she missed her next court date. But she says she never received a notice about her next court appearance. Quote, I was supposed to receive documentation. Nothing was sent to my home. And I reached out to the courthouse several times to try to find out when was my court date, Green said. She was held in contempt of court last August. 9 months later, she was pulled over by a cop after picking up her teenage daughter from cheerleading practice. The cop notified her that she had a warrant for her arrest and transported her to a local jail. She stayed at that local jail for days after receiving no bail. Quote, there was no bond. I couldn't even go home to my family. I sat in there for 7 days. 7 days in a jailhouse like a criminal, as Green said. After 6 days in jail, Green's sister-in-law filed a petition for an emergency hearing. I went to court and I had to be shackled from my hands to my feet, Green said. An attorney for the HOA also appeared at the hearing and opposed Ms. Green's release. Did you hear what I said? Opposed Ms. Green's release. But a judge cleared the way for her to be freed from jail. He says, well, it hasn't been resodded. The whole yard needs to be resodded. And she's like, not from those pictures I see. She's like, no, I want her released immediately, Green said. He wanted me to continue to sit in jail and not come home to my family. Green owes thousands of dollars in legal fees and is now facing foreclosure. The heavy-handedness of the attorney gives me an idea of what this was really about. How can she fix the yard if she's in jail? Who opposes a mother going home to her children? Who opposes a homeowner going back to their community? Who in their right mind, as a damn HOA attorney, would ever make the case to keep somebody incarcerated as if you are a prosecutor? Your main goal or main objective would be what? To get the issue resolved. How can the issue get resolved if she's not there to resolve it? Already, this woman has spent days in jail, and you want her to spend more. That makes no sense. There's more. Francis Frasica, the HOA attorney, sent a statement to ABC Action News writing, quote, Ms. Green received notices of violations. She disregarded them. Ms. Green failed to show up in court on August 19th. Her failure to abide by the court's instruction led to the arrest and warrant being issued. But Green is not the only homeowner in the neighborhood served with a foreclosure lawsuit. Shania Cruz Muniz has owned a home in Creekview for the past 10 years and even served at one time as president of the HOA board. Shania says she was involved in a years-long battle with the same company over her home's exterior paint. She said she has painted her house 3 times since 2015. Quote, nobody paints their house that many times, she said. Her community's HOA has lots of rules about everything from putting away trash cans to maintaining lawns. The Creekview HOA board hired a property manager, Ron Trowbridge of the Trowbridge Company, Inc., and a law firm, Frischia and Ross, to implement 67 pages of new covenants, conditions, and restrictions. Neighbors say the company aggressively enforced those rules. Shania says she sent Trowbridge, proof she repainted and thought her issue was resolved. Quote, then maybe 7 months later, I get served, she said. She got notice of a lawsuit which said, quote, the home appears to have been partially painted. However, the painting of the home was not ever completed. The paint is badly faded on the sides and rear. Shania says she repainted the rest of the house and notified the company. Some more months went by. I didn't hear anything. Then I started getting these letters in the mail saying, let me help you with your foreclosure. I said, what foreclosure? I called my bank. They said no. And I said, what is it? Can't possibly understand. Find out it's my HOA. They had put a lien on my house, Shania said. She emailed the company and the guy responded in an email saying, quote, we know nothing of a message of foreclosure. The lawsuit has been filed against you by the HOA. You should respond as instructed in the lawsuit. Your communication regarding this matter must be with the attorney, not the HOA office. Once again, the HOA contracts work out to the company and they get to have plausible deniability as to what happens to the residents that they are supposed to look out for. Very sad. All right, Jordan, you see right through this, I know. Thoughts?
Oh my God, it's horrifying. Yeah. If I'm ever in a position where I could potentially own a home, I want nothing to do with an HOA. Just the fact that there are busybody people with that much time on their hands to inspect dents on a garage or patches in grass, get a life. And of course, you can't help but notice similarities between the two people that the HOA are zeroing in on. I don't think we need to wonder what is causing this.
Yep.
The fact that a patch of grass could land somebody in jail for a week, and an HOA and a private company like that would fight to keep her in jail. Now right. She risks losing her home, like you say, where most Americans have any possibility of growing wealth. I mean, it's patently obvious what is happening here, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, and once again, the whole argument to keep a homeowner in jail, you're not even a prosecutor, but a civil litigator, is unbelievable. We're going to stay on top of this story. Dear brother, always a pleasure to have you on the program. Tell people how they can follow you and continue to check out your great work.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. You can check out my new YouTube channel. It's called Vanish Mode. Taylor Lorenz and I have a new show on there, so please check it out.
Absolutely, dear brother. Thank you for all your leadership, man. We appreciate all you do. All right, remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.